like to, even if it's just one person, who benefits.
Definitely. Hi, friends. I am excited to be joined by Masha Malka, 1 minute coach. Just to give the background of this interview, what I believe is happiness is the foundation of success in all areas of our life. May it be our health, physical health, our finances, our relationships with parents, with family, with the children, with our spouse, and also the productivity and success in work. Happiness or even contentment is the emotion that we all strive to achieve. But in the current world where we all experience for more than 1 year the global chaos of COVID, and it's still going on in certain parts of the world, such as India, where people are experiencing stress, anxiety, fear of unknown, and also sadness of loss um, of their loved ones. How we can stay connected to our emotional wellness and still live in the current world, because you may agree that, and there are huge studies showing that when there is an emotional disharmony, it affects your physiology and creates diseases. In fact, the current research from the US as well as UK shows that because of the global pandemic, isolation, and a lot of emotional distress, their suicidal rate has more than double in both the countries. So I was searching for, you know, the message, how we can promote this message. And I was searching for right people to, to come forward and join my hands to share this message. And it was mere coincidence at that particular point of time. Masha Malka was introduced to me by another acquaintance, and Mike Henry, and Masha has really, her academic as well as professional qualification has really blown me away. So Masha Malka has a master's degree in higher education, diploma in clinical hypnotherapy, and various trainings in NLP, transformational thinking, science of well-being, and she's also has a graduate certificate in teaching and training online. She is founder of 1 minute course system, and she is best-selling authors of few books, which I'm sure she will share more about in some time. She is a motivational speaker and members of Forbes Coaching Council, entrepreneur, and mother of three. More importantly, more than her academic professional, I think Masha has living and breathing example of unconditional love, non-judgment, and a peaceful experience. And to be honest, I have, with just one phone call, I experienced that, and that was I was motivated to invite her. So without further ado, Masha, please share this stage with me, and it's welcome, accept my warm welcome to this interview.
Thank you so much, Pranita. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's very obvious that you have this pure desire to help everybody who is looking for help right now. And being here with you is really an honor. And if I can, if what we share today can reduce suffering of people that are going through, that are struggling, and sometimes maybe even save lives, because when people find hope, when people find something to hold on to, um, it already makes a huge difference. Or maybe they hear something that they can share with somebody else in their life, and that will help them. So really an honor to be here, and looking forward to this interview.
So, my first question to you, Masha, is if you are happy to share why you are passionate to spread this well being, emotional wellness message, and from your experience with uh, working with so many people across few decades now, what do you think that emotional disharmony, how it affects our overall life?
Very good question. Starting with the first part of your question, I call myself a recovering slave to emotions. A recovering slave to emotions. Basically, emotions used to rule my life. I was, by my nature, I suppose I'm a very emotional person, and I did not know how to control those emotions, and they were really interfering with my relationships, my professional life, and just an overall well being. And finally, I said to myself, I need to learn how to master these emotions, not control them, but master. And the difference would be, controlling is more about you ignore your emotions, you're scared of your emotions, you push them away, you camouflage them with something else. So you try to control, which might temporarily work, but at the end of the day it will always come to the surface and much stronger. Mastering emotions means that you actually stop being scared of your emotions and running away from them. You learn to understand them. You learn to understand why they come into your life, why things are happening in your life the way they're happening. If you're suffering, what is this that triggering these experiences? So yeah, and then learn how to release those emotions. There are different tools that you can use, techniques that unfortunately we're not taught. We're taught how to read and write and add and subtract numbers, but we are not taught how to deal with the most important aspect of our life, which is our emotions. Like you said, it's everything really starts with an emotion. And hopefully today I'll get a chance to share as many tools as possible that people will find helpful and can implement immediately in their life when it comes to dealing with a whole range of emotions that are suddenly we're experiencing in this, like you said, very unpredictable, confusing time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think I totally agree with what we have been taught in educational system is to survive. And when what you are saying is when we learn to know how to master the emotion, then we can go from surviving to thriving. And that's our hope, right?
That's very well put. Surviving, from surviving to thriving. I like that. That's it.
So Masha has published a book. Published few books, but one of her books on emotion is called The 1 Minute Coach. Oh, that's the book. I like it. Yeah, and look at how beautiful image of
Thank you.
her, which shows the expansion and true joy, which is in her face, like quite visible. It's and I'm sure she's living that day in and day out.
Yes, the idea behind this image was more about learning to accept, because everything is available to us, but we block the flow, we block the energy of positive things, because we learn through our life
Yeah.
um, what we deserve or do not deserve to experience. And actually, what you posted on LinkedIn today, I believe it was today, about self-love, self-acceptance.
Yeah.
So the amount of joy and happiness and positive things that we experience in our life is really directly related to how much we feel we deserve to experience those positive emotions. And if you look around, and you see there are people, exactly like you said, that even in such difficult times are still thriving and still finding a way to to be even healthier, maybe happier and more successful, generate more income. um, Unfortunately, majority of people succumb to the mass fear, mass emotion. It's
Yes.
since And I assume you'd agree with me that everything is energy. Everything is energy, and we're energy. Emotions are energy, and everything has a particular frequency. And like if we compare it to a radio station, and there is a radio station that is called COVID fear, for example, and then once people tune into that frequency, most of the time unconsciously, because we're listening to certain things, we're exposed to certain things, but also it's in the air. If you don't know how to guard yourself, you can end up in that flow, in that frequency of fear. And then of course everything around you starts to support what you're scared of. You see a lot of distraction, you see a lot of grief. um, yes, people are dying, people are losing money, people are, yeah, there's a lot of loss, a lot of pain. And the more you're exposed to it, the more in a way you're experiencing it, because you're in that, you're listening to that radio station. You can put it this way: you're listening to that, the radio station of fear, distraction, grief, pain, and so on. So number one
Yeah.
step is to change the station. You gotta change the station. You gotta start listening to a different frequency. Yes, align your energy with a different frequency. We can discuss how to do it. That's the second thing. But the first thing is to understand that even though everything you experience in your life right now real, seems real, it is still,
Yeah.
when we're speaking in the language of manifestation, it's an illusion, it's a projection. It's a projection of our inner thoughts, expectations, our mindset. It, you have to be able to separate yourself and observe. Yes, it's happening, but you're observing it, like as you're watching a movie. You're there, you experience all those emotions, you're feeling all those feelings, but it's not who you are. It's your projection. I hope it makes sense.
I think it makes perfect sense because what you are saying is in Bhagavad Gita we have a very beautiful narration about it. Like you are in your human body, there is a soul, but also there is a super soul. So super soul is part of the is the universe, is the God, is the creator. So what you are trying to say is you're not body, like you're experiencing your body, but you have to observe what's going, the chaos, what's happening around you as well as within you from super soul perspective.
Yes, sorry about my dog.
That's fine.
um,
Beautifully put. Beautiful.
I just want to share a brief experience which made for me what I'm saying um, real and clear. So it's not just a theory for me anymore. I actually experienced. I experienced what is called an out of body experience. When I was going through a very traumatic time in my life many years ago, 21 years ago, and I experienced, and by the way, at the time I wasn't even spiritual, because I come from an atheist country, from the Soviet Union, which doesn't exist anymore. But the whole spirituality is something that I had to learn later on in life, and this particular experience really played a big role. So I was feeling really down, very lonely, and I remember my baby. I had 1 year old child, only one at the time, sleeping, and I was alone, working on my computer. And then I just kind of put my head down, and I could see myself like separated from my body and kind of floating up, and I could see my body there. And then I felt like this, like a cloud hands or something, kind of enveloping me and making me feel like safe and comfortable. And the sensation when that happened was, it's difficult to describe. There were no emotion, no human emotion. It was just this state of complete peace and love. Not the human love, but more of like universal love and just complete peace. There was no pain. There was no other kind of emotions. And I was just having like this conversation with this voice that was talking to me. And because I experienced this state of complete peace and love, uh, that, that you can, since then I could feel it, like if I'm in deep meditation, I can get to kind of that space. Um, but what I understood at that moment, that every emotion is a human experience.
Yeah.
Being human means experiencing emotions, a
Yeah.
whole range of emotions. This what means being human. So it's in a way it's a blessing. Every emotion is a blessing, because that's why we're here to experience the whole range of emotions, and not just what we call positive emotions, like feel good emotions, but also
Yeah.
emotions that help, that they're teaching us, what is grief, what is jealousy, what is I don't know, frustration, what is anger,
Okay.
all range of emotions. They're all very, very important. So we need to be able to accept them all as an experience and just remind ourselves, I'm going through this experience. It's not
Mm-hmm.
who I am. It's not necessarily my life. It is maybe at the moment. It is, my life is gifting me an opportunity to experience this emotion. I'm not this emotion, I'm experiencing this emotion. Very, very important. I cannot stress it more. Why? Because when you come from an understanding, I'm experiencing this emotion, then you are in control to change it, So instead of saying, I am angry, I am, I am frustrated, I am sad, I am this, you are not, then you own the emotion, you become that emotion. If you say to yourself, I feel very sad right now. I
Mm-hmm.
feel very sad for myself. I feel very sad for my friends, for my family. I feel grief. I feel distraught. Like, but you, as long as you're feeling it, you're experiencing that emotion, it will shift. It's passing through you, and then it's going. It's passing through you. It teaches you a lesson. It makes you more compassionate.
Yeah.
Imagine somebody who's never experienced um, any kind of emotion, grief or just any kind of emotion. They cannot really relate to someone who does, and they cannot understand when they cause someone to feel this emotion. And they don't understand why that person would be hurt, upset, because they never experienced it. So we're here to learn, and we're learning through these emotions, okay?
Yeah.
So
Wow. I
this
think
is the point.
amazing. Like that, very few people on this planet have had that experience, like what you call outer body experience. Some may have that during near death procedure, and I'm so glad that you shared this experience in this interview. In fact,
Thank you.
that was my second question, because in your book you mentioned that in introduction part, right? And I was quite moved with that experience you mentioned. um, and towards the end you said something interesting, that that universe, that creator, uh, that you were having conversation with, you didn't want it to come back, right?
Mhm.
um, and then that he, she, whoever it was, said your mission is not yet complete,
Yes,
and yet you had a choice,
I had a choice.
right?
Yes.
And you On some other part, you said that, like earlier you said that we are here to experience the emotion, we are perfect, right? So there are two part of it. What I'm trying to get to is, and this answer coming from you would be valuable because you have lived that, like you have experienced that higher plane. So we are perfect as we are, and we are here to experience the emotions and the pleasure and all sort of emotions. Yet we have mission, yet we have purpose. And I think a lot of sufferings happen in this world, as well as my own personal experience, is because people strive to achieve goal, people strive to succeed in certain areas, especially the business profession. um, so how we can maintain the balance and not suffer, even we have mission, to understand that it's okay, it's all emotions, it's all experience. Does that question make sense?
I will try to answer it, and if I don't, you let me know, okay? um, so my goal actually is to help people create like the 80-20. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. So kind of everything applies to that rule. So I think, in my opinion, the ideal ratio is that 80% of the time in our life we experience feel good. I call it feel good emotions, because I don't like to judge it as positive or negative, because I believe that every emotion has its place. But I would say 80% of the time feel good emotion, 20% of the time more challenging emotions. Why? Because we need challenges in our life.
Okay.
It is through our challenges, it is through these uh, emotions that don't really feel good, that we actually grow and expand and get closer to our potential, to that version of ourselves that is our highest potential. But that's how we do it. It's like, if you think of a diamond, it needs to have the friction, it needs to have that to become a diamond. um, then the oak tree have to have the winds and then to become strong. It is the same with us. My favorite example is how lobsters grow. I shared in one of the books, not this one, another one. And lobsters, um, the way they grow is that their shell is very rigid. Their shell does not grow, but the mushy lobster inside grows. Yeah. So the little lobster starts growing, growing, growing. The shell doesn't grow, and it becomes very uncomfortable. And it's very painful to be in a small shell because it keeps growing and the shell is not moving. So at some point, the lobster sheds the shell and grows a new one, a bigger one that's more comfortable. And so then the lobster is comfortable. We can relate it to our comfort zone. So we're like, it's
Yeah.
nice and comfortable. But the lobster keeps growing, 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 growing. And now this new shell is already too small again. So again, the lobster is uncomfortable and in pain. And it needs to shed the shell to grow a new one until it becomes fully grown. And so I think it's the same for us, for people. We get to the point in our life where we strive, we work hard, we achieve certain things, and we think, okay, we made it. And then something always happens. I don't know about your experience, but in my experience, something just always like boom, and you think, oh my God, what happened? I thought I was I was there. And it's like you come to the point in your life where expansion is necessary, growth is necessary. And let's say, if we go back to the lobster had the chance to go to a doctor and get some medication so it doesn't hurt anymore. He'll keep growing, the shell will stay the same, the lobster will die without reaching its potential. So the point I'm making is, yes, it's uncomfortable, yes, it's painful, but if it's happening to you, it's because you have what it takes to overcome and get to the next level, get to that next, you know, comfort zone. So you just need to first of all understand and believe that, have faith that the right people, the right information, the right tools, the right support will always come. It will always come. It's just how life works. You've got to believe that. Have faith and just do what needs to be done. get, shed the old shell. The new you, the new way of thinking, the new way of being is necessary now. You get there, wonderful, enjoy while it lasts, but it's gonna come again because that's just how life works. We're always gonna get challenges. It's normal. It's good.
Yeah.
That's what makes us stronger.
Amazing. Wow. You answered it in a better way than I could ever imagine.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I'm
So, friends, whenever you have challenges, just think about this analogy of lobster, and your shell is too small for you, and believe that the right help will come from all the sources. I think that belief, lack of belief, uh, with with the universe, that and the trust that you'll be taken care of, is impending, or it's a hindrance for many people. But what you're saying is to have that strong belief.
Um, I heard recently someone say it's not faith. It's not faith until it seems like it's impossible. You know, faith is really when it seems like things are impossible, but you still believe that things are going to work out. That's true faith. And let's look at things. I mean, this all sounds good and in theory, but I want to look at it from a scientific point of view. I like to look at things from the scientific point of view. I actually majored in math in college, so I like science. And so, from the scientific point of view, kind of like I started explaining to you about the energetic frequencies and how, like a magnet, that frequency attracts the exact same things in the sense that emotions, circumstances, people, experiences that match that frequency.
Mhm.
It's how life works. It's physics. Even Einstein used to say that.
Yeah.
If you want to change something in your life, don't wait for things to happen to feel better. Do it the other way around. Start with the end result is
Yeah.
always the emotion. Every goal that you have, it's not about the goal. The end result is always a particular emotion that you're trying to achieve, an emotion of fulfillment, an emotion of happiness, an emotion of uh, being valued. There's a particular emotion there, an emotion of inner peace.
Peace.
We
Yeah.
call it an emotion. But at the end, there's always an emotional sensation that we're striving to achieve. Start with that. Don't wait for things around you to happen. Start finding, creating, even if you cannot find it, creating experiences, creating, even just visualize what would have to happen in your life for you to feel that peace, for you to feel um, connected, for
Loved.
you to feel fulfilled, for you to feel love. Yes.
Loved. Yeah.
If you cannot find it in your life, even though when you look, you will find always. When you look for something, when you put your focus, you will find. You will find beauty, you will find love, you will find support. Give it first. If you cannot find it, give it. Give
Okay.
love, give support, make somebody feel better. When you give, that's the best way to get something. Start feeling grateful for all the little things, just every little thing. Like
Mhm.
you if you are able to get out of bed and walk to the toilet, sorry for the example, but it's true. It's already a lot better than a lot of people that cannot do that because they don't physically, they're not able to move. There's 2 million, I think it was 2 million people that are not going to wake up because they're going to die in their sleep. If you're awakened, if you woke up, that's already something to be grateful for. If you woke up and your loved ones are next to you and they're healthy, that's something to be grateful for. You can always find something to be grateful for. So, talking about radio stations, we're changing the frequency, we're changing the focus, we're changing the focus to gratitude, to
Gratitude.
love, to appreciation, to finding, looking for ways to experience the emotion you're looking to experience as much as possible, like as much as possible. Not once or twice a day, and then for the rest of the day you're feeling, all the negative emotions because it's a habit for you now.
It
But for a
is.
lot,
Yeah. For many
for a
people,
lot,
like
yeah, for a
including
lot of
me.
people.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, 95%, 95%, just think about this number. I can never get over this. 95% of everything we do, think,
Yeah.
react, feel is habitual.
Yeah.
Habitual,
Wow, that's a
subconscious.
big number. That's a
Unbelievable. 95%. So the only way to change the circumstances of your life
Mhm.
is to change your habits. And by habits, I don't mean just whether you are going to wake up in the morning and exercise, which is good, but that's not just, by habits, I also mean your habitual way of thinking, feeling, and reacting, because it's habitual.
Yeah.
If you want to change something in your life, change the way you react to it, change something, scratch that record or whatever, change. To get different results, you got to do different things. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. You'll still be in that frequency, that radio station again and again and again. Even when things start to seem to get a little bit better, you're going to get back to that because it's habitually that's where you are. If you're habitually in the vibration of a victim, a lot of things are going to be happening to support that frequency of a victim. If you say to yourself, I'm tired of drama, I don't want drama anymore in my life, I no longer want to be a victim, I choose to empower myself by taking responsibility with the way I feel on a regular basis, regardless of all the chaos and
Mm.
all the drama that's happening around me. In the center of that tornado, tornadoes,
Outside.
it ruins everything on its way. But the center of tornado is always very calm and very peaceful. So even though there's things happening inside, you stay calm, you stay peaceful, and you have complete faith that this tornado is going to pass, like everything in life always passes. It's going to pass, and when it does, you're going, the sun, the light, everything is going to come out. You're going to be stronger. You're going to expand. You're going to get closer to your potential, and you're going to start creating step by step, the kind of life that really going to give you those emotions. And again, we'll start with the emotion, but when you start with the emotion, things starts happening. You gotta allow them. This is the picture. Yeah? You gotta allow them. That's what I meant by this. Just
Yeah.
allow. I allow good things.
To
Allow good things to come in your life. Like feel deserving.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Oh, wow. Wow. Um, so what you're saying is to create something new, first of all, you have to identify the emotions, what that new thing, that new vision will get to give, what emotions that will give you, and then start creating that emotion or looking for those emotions experiences in your current environment. If they are not there, then create that experience. And if that's, and in your book and in your life story which you shared with me, you changed the environment, your physical environment, right? And by the way, friends, whatever Masha is sharing, she has created. We will talk more about the book uh, bit later, but she has created like concrete examples, concrete steps throughout her book, and they are very easy to follow. So whatever we are discussing, it's all there in the book and more easier for you to adapt. So please go, and I will share the link in some time. But what I was trying to ask you is to identify what you shared, identify emotions, look for those emotional experiences in your current environment. If you can't, then create those in your current environment. But in your life journey, Masha, you have traveled so many places and finally ended up in being in Spain, Marbella, Spain. Even though you are from sunshine place of Florida, do you find that the physical environment has the positive or negative energy? And how do you find your life experiences or life results of being in different part of the world, and why you think that being right now here is more empowering for you?
Um, our environment definitely affects everything, actually affects for sure our environment, but our environment, the place you live, the geographical physical environment, but also the people that you spend the time with,
Yeah.
the food that you eat, the movies that you watch, the books that you read, you know, whatever you listen to, whatever, everything is affecting, and most of the time unconsciously affecting your reality. It helps you create more of the same. So it's very important to become aware as to what you're channeling your focus to, what you're listening to, what you're watching, who is around you, and so on. Now, when it comes to physical environment, it's not necessarily easy for most people to just pick up and go to a nice, beautiful, sunny place. Marbella is like paradise. However, what I want to say is that, you know, we all have these stories. What we're living now is a story we created for ourselves. Every one of us is living out a particular story that we create because when we were little, we watched some, you know, we read a fairy tale, or we just, or we heard somebody say something like, but we create the story and then we leave them. And we have the certain expectations of our lives, of the people in our lives. If those expectations do not materialize, we become, you know, lost in a way, because we have a story, the story suddenly ends and now we're not sure what to do, and it's very traumatic. But it's all self-created. It's all our expectations. When our expectations are not fulfilled, that's when we get like out of balance and experience all this range of negative emotions. So the point I'm making here, yes, you have the story, and I suggest you write the story as it is now. So write about your life.
Yeah.
My life now is like this is good, this is not so good. And then you create a new story.
Mm.
You write a story, you become an author of your life. You write a story as you want it to be.
Mm.
Imagine you're writing a script for a play and you're the star
Mm.
in that play or this movie. And you write for yourself the script. Um, and then you describe that you're living in the kind of place you want to live. You
Mm.
describe what kind of people surround you. You describe what you look like.
Mm.
What, you know, if you want to, let's say, get in shape, or if you want to, you know, you describe how your hair, how your skin, everything. You describe your love life and all kinds of things. You describe it in that story.
Yeah.
If your immediate environment does
Mm.
not allow you at the moment
Yeah.
to experience this new story.
Yeah.
What some things you can do, you can and put pictures on the walls, pictures of the beach maybe, or pictures of the some beautiful places where you want to go. That's why those dream boards, what they call like the vision boards,
Yeah.
they work, because, you know, it gives you the visual. Then you write it down. You listen to some uplifting music. You need to create those emotions, those elevated, it's called elevated emotions for yourself,
Mm.
and try to submerge yourself, kind of dive into those emotions and those images in your mind as much as possible. Because what your mind believes, your mind, for your mind, it not doesn't make much difference whether it's real or not real. If
Yeah.
I say to you now, um, don't think about eating a lemon,
Yeah.
you
You will.
think about eating a lemon, and then if I tell you, like, imagine you biting into the lemon and the juice of it, like, you know, you feel the sourness of it, like you start salivating. You're
Mhm.
not really eating a lemon, it's all in your head.
Yeah.
There's a lot of examples like this. It's scientifically proven. Yeah, for your mind, doesn't make much difference if it's real or imagined. So
Yeah.
the more you imagine, the more it becomes real, and the more you start to manifest little by little, like magical things start to happen. Unexpected things in the way start to happen, but it's because you're now focused
Yeah.
on this new reality, and this movie that you're playing over and over in your head. Not the movie of now that's making you suffer, but the movie that's going to make you, like, it's going to make you very happy. When you write that story, very important to write it in present tense, not in the future, in the present tense, as if you're experiencing it now.
Mhm.
Because in the world of the universe, how it works, the future never comes. Yeah, it's like you go to a restaurant and there is a sign in the restaurant that says free burgers tomorrow. So you're all excited, you come, and it's like, where is my burger? It's tomorrow. And there is a sign there, free burgers tomorrow. And the waiter said, no, but it's tomorrow. Then you come tomorrow and it's still tomorrow. So you never get your free burger.
So
So you have
everything
to seize
happens
the day.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so from your experience, I think what you're describing is very helpful for the people, because even though they are, I mean, I'm saying they, but we are experiencing all sort of emotion, even if they're negative emotion, which we don't want. We can create a new story and try to leave that story through visuals. Um, yeah. Uh, when we talk about the physical environment, and I think it's very interesting because you live that, like you have been adventurous to move the countries, a few countries, seven, am I right?
Mhm.
uh, what internal and external shift you experience, as well as the different results you had in different countries, and why Marbella, why Spain?
Yes. So first of all, I always what I share is what has worked for me. So every time my life comes to a point where I'm not really happy, I'm out of balance, I sit down and I write exactly how I would want it to be, and then I get into that emotional state. And most of the time, when I go back and read my call them visions, most of them actually happen. Most of the things come true, including the things that at the end, I didn't really want, but they still come true because I wrote it down. That's why I say to people, be careful sometimes what you wish for. One of the things that I'm referring to is I got pregnant with my third child quite unexpectedly, really unexpectedly. And of course, I had the baby, and it's incredible. But I already had a very busy career, it wasn't easy to have three children, and the other two were still young. And I remember we were moving, and I was looking through my journals, and I found a journal entry before I had any children. I think maybe I just got married or something, and I wrote there that I'm married with three children.
Ah.
And I said, okay, well, that makes sense, fine. I asked for it, I got it. So moving the countries, okay. Initially, I grew up in the Soviet Union, which doesn't exist anymore. Now it's Ukraine. I That was not a conscious kind of move. That maybe I did wish for a certain kind of life, and the universe moved me to America. It moved me to Vienna first, Vienna, Austria,
Australia, yeah.
because that was the process of we were refugees, and we couldn't just go straight. So we lived in Vienna for a bit. I love Vienna. I still do. We arrived to America. I did not like America. I did not like Miami specifically at all. Still not a big fan, to be honest. I'm much more of a European kind of person. I like the culture, the history, the lifestyle here much more in Europe. So I knew almost from day one that I wanted to move. In fact, I told my parents I was 17. I said, the first opportunity I get, I'm leaving. And I did. I graduated
So
on the
nice.
2nd of May. On the 6th of May, I was on my plane to Vienna because I love Vienna. And by then, I was already married. We were just newlyweds. We moved to Vienna together. Then my husband got transferred to England, to London.
Okay.
I kind of knew London was not really my place, but okay, I went there. Didn't really like it, and we were at that point we were looking for a place, for a perfect place to raise children, which Miami wasn't that. Vienna could have been okay. London was not that. And then because I put it out there in the universe, I want a perfect place to raise children, and we end up here in Spain, south of Spain, Costa del Sol, Marbella, and immediately I just knew, like it was just perfect to raise children. It's really paradise. And so we stayed, and we had three children that were born here and raised here. And now they moved out, but I'm still here because it's very difficult to find the place that is as beautiful as Marbella. Even though in between we moved to Bulgaria, we lived in Bulgaria, also on the Black Sea, but also, I mean, also by the water, and then moved back here. So yes, so the main reason why we ended up in Marbella is because we wanted to raise a family here. But now just, it's
But
become my home.
I think it's more than like a family is important element of our life, right? And that's again having the successful family is a part of success. And you have raised three amazing children, so you're successful um, parent as it is. But in terms of like other element like mental well-being, physical well-being, as well as success, because when you feel when you are successful in the areas of family, because family is an important foundation, and that's what you shared was like European as well as some of the Asian cultures, the family's biggest value, and when that's satisfied, you that's a foundation, then you can spread your wings, then you can go ahead and be successful in career, in your business, right?
Everybody have different values. For me, yes, I always knew I wanted to be a mother, and family were my priority. But I've come across many people that it's not their top values. Maybe it's not their values at all. They have different different things, different scenarios, different things they want to create, different emotions they want to experience. For them, it's really not necessary to experience being a parent. In fact, they don't even want to for whatever reason. It used to be very difficult for me to understand why somebody would not want to be parent, because for me it was like so important. I think it's actually definitely a major part of my purpose, experiencing being a mother and being, yeah. But I learned that it's not right or wrong. It's only right or wrong within your perception of how world works. So in your I call it window of perception of this world, certain things are right and certain things are wrong, which is fine. But in somebody else's, it could be very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's very important to understand if somebody doesn't fit into your perception of how somebody should be or what is right and what is wrong, okay, you don't need to mix with them, but you also don't need to judge them.
Judge them. Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
think judgments create more, like Dr. Deepak Chopra said, judgments create separation, and separation is like again form creates more negative emotions than the positive emotions, right?
Yes, you don't have to accept those people within your world if they're crossing your boundaries too much, if they're, you know, not honoring your most important values.
Mm.
Obviously, you don't need to have them in your life. It's your life, it's your choice who you want to be with, but you don't need to try and change them and convince them unless they ask you. That's the difference. But do not impose your beliefs and what you think is right on
Yeah.
someone else, because this is right for you and something else is right for them. You will avoid a lot of arguments and frustration if you either accept people exactly as they are, and if something is not acceptable, just don't have them in your life.
Yeah, yeah. And wow, so many questions I put it on, but I think you are tapping into the source, and you are explaining what is required in the current environment, um, the situation. So thank you so much. Would you be happy to talk about little bit more about your book,
Sure.
and how do you think it's effective? I mean, because there are so many self-help book, but what your book is about, it's uh, right and brain hemisphere integration, and also short um, snippet and structured advice, which I found very impressive. So maybe perhaps
Very briefly, I can explain, yes, about the
and
book.
also show the some of the images we
Yes,
can
I will.
see.
I will.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pranita, for asking. So this is my second book in a series of the 1 Minute Coach. This is the umbrella of a series of the books that I am planning to write.
Mm.
And it uses a specific format. I think that's what makes these books so unique. And the format is designed for busy people, people who understand the value of learning, and they want to change and they want to grow, but they don't really have time to maybe to read full books. So here I call it the 1 minute coach because each chapter takes about a minute to read. So then you read here, then yes, like you said, Pranita, it uses whole brain learning or accelerated learning techniques, where the left side, which is logical step by step kind of information, so here we have the left side information, the right side is about it learns in images it needs to see a whole picture. So then the image summarizes what was read,
Mhm.
and then I also put action steps because information, the people used to say information is power. I think information is not power. Information, applying the information is power. There's information overload right now. There's way too much information. Is finding the information you need and actually applying that information is what's powerful. So I make it easy for people, and I just say, okay, here's the little bit of information, here's what you can do with it, here's
Yeah,
how you can remember it.
yeah,
And you can read it from cover to cover, or you can just open on any page and use it as like a message for you for today, and
yeah.
then apply the steps. And little by little, it's like planting seeds. Your life starts to shift. Your life starts to shift. Initially maybe it's not so noticeable, but it's like trajectory. It kind of goes like this, and then you will notice huge changes in your life.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And what's your second book in the series?
This is the second book. The first book is called The 1 Minute Coach: Change Your Life 1 Minute at a Time. I'm trying to see where I don't have it on my desk. It's there on
Okay,
the bookshelf.
Change
Yeah,
Your Life one.
one
Uh,
minute at a time. This is the first book, The 1 Minute Coach: Change Your Life 1 Minute at a Time. And this is the 1 minute coach to mastering your emotions, a step by step guide to feeling good on a regular basis. What I was saying about 80%. Yeah,
yeah,
this is,
yeah.
yeah, it talks about it's just helping you understand your emotions and how to deal with your emotions. I'm actually working now on releasing a course, which is
Yes,
very practical course on the laws of mastering emotions. There's a four Malka laws of mastering emotions. I developed those laws. I teach in university actually that subject, and it really goes into depth explaining, so you really get an understanding about each law. By the way, the first law is separating yourself from the emotion. That's the first one. You are not your emotions. That's the first one. And then I talk about a few others, that once you actually understand what those laws are and learn how to apply them, and then there's specific tools as to how to release the emotions. There's many different ways. You will find one that works for you.
yes, yes.
Everybody's different. So I
And
give
in your book also you explain, like, I'll encourage all the readers, all the listeners to this interview to get the book, because towards the end Masha has lots of tools. She describes how to release those emotions, and there's a very practical, short and easy way you can release the negative emotions and tap into the positive. Yeah.
yes.
Masha, I know your time is really valuable, and I think what I'm experiencing is, because I have written down lots of questions, but it's not like, we our conversation can continue forever, um,
Yes.
because you have nuggets of information that you could share to the world. But very important thing, and again, coming from the quote I shared today, that self-love, loving everything about yourself, even the unacceptable, is an act of personal power, and it is beginning of healing, by Christian Northrup, who is MD. Um, Hello. That's my- I was saying the quote from Dr. Christian Northrup: "Loving everything about yourself, even the unacceptable, is an act of personal power." and it is beginning of healing. So, in your book, you also talk about the power of self-love, gratitude for self, that you are spending time for your own healing, for your self-care. And lot many people find it difficult, including me, to okay, we can accept and love things which are good about ourselves, but things which are unacceptable or not according to our standard, it's very difficult for many people to accept, let alone love.
Mhm.
So how would you, and as you are saying, as you have lived that higher plane, outer body experience, how would you say from that perspective how we can accept unacceptable and love ourselves?
um, yeah, the word unacceptable is not acceptable. There's no such thing. It was a journey for me. It really was a journey for me to learn to love myself, for sure. um, I did go through this, so I will talk from experience. um, Things that helped me to look at this whole situation as loving and accepting myself. Number one, because I'm a mother. um, See, I see every one of us. So me, you, the children that come through us, as we're all children of one bigger power. You can call it God, you can call it, force, universe. We're all like, in a way, like children of that bigger power. And this bigger power has created us.
Yeah.
So the one thing is to remember is to doubt that we're anything but perfect if we're created by that power is really disrespectful to that higher power. It created us in its image. So how can we possibly not be perfect? Right? That's number one.
Mm.
Number two, if you are a parent and you have experience having a newborn,
Yeah.
the newborn does nothing except waking you up in the morning, keeping you, making you tired, like screaming, doing all the thing, you have to clean, you have to, like, it's really, what is it doing for you? Not really much, except, yeah. But you love the child unconditionally. You love unconditionally. Unconditionally means you don't love this child because it gave you something or did something for you, or lived up to certain expectations of that child. I don't know. You just love the child. You
Yeah.
accept the child
Yeah.
crying or sick or pooing or, or do whatever,
Yeah.
throwing up, whatever it is that the child is doing. You love the child.
Hmm.
You are that child to yourself. You are, you know, our bodies change, but our true nature doesn't. We're always the same. We're going through this experience, but we are in the essence perfect, like you were saying. Yes, perfect because we are created by that higher power. So first, having an understanding of this in your mind is the first step. Another thing that I was doing, I was just visualizing, let's say, the song by Joe Cocker, "You Are So Beautiful to Me." Anthony Robbins is the one that does this exercise. And the first time I did it, it was so profound. He basically asks you to imagine that you're holding yourself as the baby,
Oh
and
yeah.
and you're looking so as the and you're singing that song to
Beautiful.
yourself.
Yeah.
You are so beautiful to me. You're everything I hoped for.
Ah.
Yeah, and then you really connect to that feeling. And I remember I was crying so much the first time it happened. So you got to reconnect to that inner child. You got to accept what you call is unacceptable. There is no such thing, in the sense that we create this ideal, this image of how we think we should be.
Hmm.
Especially women, I think, maybe more than men, I don't know, but I have a feeling it's all has to do with how we're raised, the expectations of our parents, the expectations of our teachers, of our environment. You have to be like this, and if you're not like this, you're like you get an F. If you don't comply to this, you're bad. If you this, you're bad. Like, they put us in this then we ourselves put us in this like
Wow.
image of expectations of how we think we should be, and God forbid we're a little bit different to that. We don't this is what we call unacceptable. Unacceptable is what we ourselves
Yeah.
put it out there and say, this is who I am, just in our minds. It's not who we are, it's what we, you know, we create a character in our head. And then if the character, if who we truly are doesn't match that expected us,
Yeah.
there is a disharmony, and we get like
We-
upset with ourselves. But it's like the moon. The moon has the bright side and the shadow side, but the moon would not exist without both. You know,
uh,
there's no life without the moon. No, you gotta accept the bright and the shadow. It's one whole thing, yin yang. There's without one there is no other. It balances itself out, and it's all perfect. Our shadow self, I call it, is necessary for us to balance us out, but also to bring certain things out in other people, to challenge them, to challenge ourselves. It's all perfect.
Wow. I'm going to have to rewind this interview and go through this particular segment many times, because self acceptance is unless we accept ourselves, we can't, nobody else can accept us, right? In a way, we unless they are saintly and unconditionally loving and non-judgmental like you.
But I think it was Deepak Chopra, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's the one who said, very profound, the best way to forgive is not to blame.
Okay.
The best way to forgive is not to blame. You need to stop blaming yourself for whatever you think you're doing or thinking or wrong, or whatever it is you think is unacceptable. You gotta forgive yourself, but you don't even need to forgive. You just need to stop blaming. You just need to stop thinking that this is wrong. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So what you're trying to say is, wherever you are at, whichever health condition you have, whatever career situation you are at, whatever your personality trait that are exhibiting in the relationships, although those are negative by your perception, they are still perfect. Having said that, yet you can evolve, you can improve, but you shouldn't blame yourself.
You know why they're perfect? I tell
Why?
you why. I tell you why they're perfect. They're perfect because you manifest those experiences in your life to help yourself recognize certain patterns, certain stuck emotions,
Mm.
uh, certain things that require adjustment, that the little tuning up. It requires adjustment. It comes up in your life, and you say, "Oh, great! Thank you." Okay, it doesn't feel very good, but thank you, because now I understand where I need to put my attention, what I need to work on, what I need to release or adjust, so that, because that is what required for
Yeah.
me to get to the destination I need to be. It's a guiding system. It's a guiding system. It's not good or bad. If you're driving somewhere and you took the wrong turn,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you need to turn around and come back. Is it bad that you took the wrong turn? Okay, you can beat yourself up like, oh, why am I such an idiot for doing this? But the guiding system say, hey, you're going in the wrong direction, please turn around. You can resist it and say, no, 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 I'm good, I'm fine, I don't make mistakes, I'm going to continue there. And eventually, like, you're just going more and more away from where you actually need to be to fulfill your life purpose, to fulfill your, and the life purpose is to become the best version of who you can be.
Wow, that the way I'm laughing, or the reason I'm laughing, that was my first question. That what do you think the life purpose, living that like outer body experience? And I think towards the end you answered. So again, life purpose is to become the
To
best
become
version.
Yes, to become the best version of who you are. Your emotions are there to assist you. Your emotions are your best friends. They're there to help you because they give you an indication whether you're in the right track or not. If
Amazing.
you're feeling out of this, like you need to make a little adjustments.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the purpose of everybody is to become our best versions of who we are.
Amazing. Amazing. Wow. I hope everyone this interview has given you inspiration and tools to overcome whatever emotional disharmony you are experiencing, and given you drive to fulfill your purpose, fulfill your potential, and expand your shell and become best version of yourself. Thank you so much, Masha, for sharing your valuable time with us over here.
That
And
was a perfect conclusion, by the way, of this interview. Thank you. And
thank
thank
you.
you for having me. And anytime you want to chat, I'm here for you. And
And
for
we will share
everybody,
the book, both of your book link as well as your social media, so that uh,
yes,
people can
yes,
follow.
connect to me on social media. I do post regularly. The Instagram, LinkedIn. You can message me there if you want. Would love to be connected, and if I can help, I will be more than happy to.
Amazing, amazing. We'll leave that over there. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Namaste.